going to be track right at turn in for turn 10 there. So that's an example where we came in a little fast and it sort of gets us off to a slow start on the straight. Out area, use all that. Out area, feet in the grip. Look at that point, kind of. Track out area. Eyes up track. Since we have a slower car in front of us and will probably let us pass, let's turn in here, apex early, parallel and adjacent. Finish parallel and adjacent. like he's coming off the track completely. Use all that track out area. Very nice. Track out area. Over there, nice speed.
I feel like I needed to down brake so a little bit after.
out these S's, very nice.
feeling something in my.
What's that?
I'm feeling something in left field. It feels feeling popping from the left side. Marble or something like that. It's on now.
That was much more parallel. Coming over that now than it was earlier, I think.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm trying to mimic your left-hand line. Did that wrong. sure what that was, but I could definitely feel something where it felt like the wheel was out of balance. On the left-hand side, I could feel one of the wheels kind of, through the steering wheel, you could feel it like a tap, 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 tap.
Here's, and I'm not sure about this, but sometimes these cars, they have, I'll call it a version of traction control where, and I don't really know how this car is, but the car might have thought, we're sort of pushing.
Will come on and do a similar thing when traction control is fully on.
Yeah.
In sport mode, it doesn't really interfere. All it does is cut power.
Okay.
So, I mean, I see the traction control on when I get the corners
sometimes
right.
I'll see that little yellow light kind of,
it's letting me know, hey, you're on the edge.
Yeah. So, and it'll kind of intercede to a degree. We weren't driving it, so it's like, it would, but, you were sort of on the edge of what I guess is allowable, and it was, kind of...
but I don't think it was traction control. I don't think that was the...
Yeah. Well,
I don't think that was causing the tapping. I mean, I know that feels like that on the brake pedal, like when you're on the brakes.
Yeah.
But I was feeling it through the steering wheel, not through the brake pedal.
Oh, that's...
Yeah, so it was very strange. It was unnerving because I hadn't had that happen before. But I mean, it could be, like I said, it could be marbling or something I picked up that was causing it. I wanted to be sure everything was good.
Sure.
Before coming back into the power again.
Yeah. Well, out there on the track, it's kind of the crucible environment where whatever it was. I mean, we'll see how it is tomorrow. But it's hard to say.
It was gone by the end of that the straightaway, the front straight.
Okay.
So what happened was 14 was fine, and as I was setting up for 15, I felt it starting to happen, and I don't know how to explain it in proper terms, maybe. But it felt like I felt like I was feeling the left front wheel, and I felt like I picked up a nail, or something was heavy, or something was larger than everything else on the surface. And so what it felt like was basically like I had put a bolt into the tire, and I was driving, and I could feel that tap 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 of that item hitting, and my instinct says that it was the front left. That's what it felt like to me. So that's what I felt. So that's why I kind of took it more easy at the end of 15. And I was kind of just laying the gas on gently on the straight to see what was going on with it. And then about halfway through, I felt nothing, and it felt just fine again. So I went through turn 1, no problem, but it was a right-hand turn, so I wanted to get onto the left to see what was going on. So that 1 was fine, 2 was fine, and then when we went around 3 and nothing happened, I'm like, okay, it must have just been something that got on and came off.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that's all that was. I'll take a look and see on both of these tires just to see if there's anything untoward. I'll look at all of them, really. There's no reason not to.
Yeah. It's never a bad thing to sort of look at the tires and the brakes and the gas like once or twice, per track day, just to keep abreast of, anything. In all likelihood, if a person is doing that, looking once or twice, person's not going to be totally caught off guard. But it's good to sort of see things as they're developing rather than, too far.
Suddenly surprised,
Whoa, hey. Yeah.
What's that check engine light all about?
I know.
So. But
Well, that was a great day. I mean, one of the things that I'm impressed by with you, a lot of times when I say you'll kind of put it out there in the sense that, you'll definitely sort of push the car, but not like egregiously where, this is going to end out bad. You're correcting well, you're addressing well when you slightly overstep, I'll call it the comfort zone, which is great. I mean, that's, like I say, that's a real talent, to sort of get there, go there, and then, but manage it well. You're not like jumping out there, whoa, that's way too much. You know, that's great.
Yeah, I'm trying to explore as much as possible, so that, you know, because that's how, you know, you start to find the ragged edges is, you know,
sure.
you push out a little bit,
Yeah.
and see what happens.
Yeah, and as long as a person is managing that well, you know, as a person isn't pushing beyond the point of no return, you know, that's a good thing.
Yeah, and the other thing is I as I'm out there, I try to think about the tires as much as possible. So I try to think, okay, if am I asking too much? How do they feel? How's that working? And then when I feel like maybe I might be pushing them too hard, I'll start, you know, I'll take a turn easy or something like that, just to kind of to back off it a bit. You know, I know that kind of from my experience, you know, when, you know, in other tracks, you know, in Laguna Seca, when I light up the rear tires, that's a warning light to me that I'm overcooking.
Yeah.
And every time you light up the tires, you're just making the problem worse.
Yeah.
So at that point, I'm just kind of trying to ease it back, which is nice because I feel good that hasn't really been happening here.
Yeah.
But I'm really cognizant about it every time, you know, every time I feel because the traction control lets me know when I'm starting to slip. I don't think it interferes until, like, it'll pull power when you really step out more than it likes on the sport mode. So when I see the light, or when I feel kind of it being loose in the back end, you know, I'm figuring that I'm probably, you know, I'm making a withdrawal on my tire heat.
Yeah.
And so I gotta pay something back later on as I'm going through my lap. So I'm kind of trying to be cognizant of that every time I kind of get into the slips.
That's great.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, like I say, that's, you know, not usually what people involve themselves in that much this early on in the activity. So that's great. What's kind of the checklist that I should be looking at for tomorrow? Okay, one thing specifically, turn 10.
Yeah.
Like over there, you know, after 9, make sure you're track right at turn-in.
Yeah.
You know, we're pretty consistently off the right side of the track. You know, it's not a fast turn. The camber's good. A lot of things are working to, you know, one's advantage. But just to make things better and easier. And it, you know, it's a long straight before the turn-in, so there's no turning. You know, if a person just approximately gets track right earlier rather than later, you know, it's done in place, and a person, you know, you won't kind of drive to the right. I mean, I'm not saying you have to have, you know, be right on the edge, but pretty consistently we're off the right side of the track.
I feel like I'm lining it up just fine as I'm going into my braking zone, but then after the braking zone, I'm definitely, I notice it's one of those things where you've got, you know, particularly in an FR-S, you have so much time between 9 and 10 to line up the car. I am a little bewildered that I keep ending up off, because I notice it, you know, afterwards, and I don't know if it's maybe and I don't know that looking into the apex is too soon is maybe the problem, but I don't know if what's drawing me left when I'm already right.
Yeah, I mean, I call that crabbing.
Yeah.
Crabbing, you know, a crab, like, sort of has eyes pointed forward. He has these legs on the side. Like, it's easy to sort of be going to the side as you're looking forward. Person says, well, I'm going to be turning left. I'm going to start, you know.
Might as well start now, right?
Well, I mean,
erroneously,
that's what people do. You know, a person is like, well, I'm going to be turning left. The person, I mean, I don't even know if they think they're doing it, but it's like, whoa, I'm already mid-track, you know, turn in. When the turn in, a person, you know, it should be more from, like, you know, fully track right or left or whatever it is. You know, let me think here for you tomorrow.
Yeah, 11 I still have to work on. I feel like, I don't know, it feels like every time I start to think about 10 or start to think about kind of the exit of 10 and all that stuff, I think because 11 is so quick up, I think I kind of I get distracted as I'm coming into 11. I think that more than anything is hurting me. So I need to work on my focus and discipline on staying in the moment.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed that, but a few times when you when you commented on, good for, a given turn, the next turn was generally worse.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking about, what did I do right that time? And I'm no longer,
You're no longer in the moment. Yeah. Kind of.
And so I think I need to work on my discipline, particularly towards the end of a day and stuff like that, where it's so easy to start.
Too, there's kind of, I mean,
I need to work on discipline and focusing, on where I'm at. Every bit as much focusing on where I am as looking at where I'm not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
I know that those are two areas where, in general, not even specific to this track, I need to kind of get working on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I say, I think you're doing really well. You're getting a lot out of your car. You're pushing your car, and I feel like you're getting a good sense for, what the car can do, what you can do in the car, and sort of getting a lot out of the car. I mean, that's, I think, the thing that strikes me most in the most, positive, favorable way. I'm going to say make sure your car is well positioned for turning, and if you can be consistent with that, then you can start to dial in, you can start to tweak, you can start to extract a little bit more because you're coming off a good, placement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure you've noticed, but like a lot of times on 9, it doesn't feel like it's as much intent as luck that I end up right where I'm supposed to be, because I kind of can feel what I should be doing. Oh, I'm sorry. Are you?
It's okay. I'm
okay.
good. Yeah.
But yeah, you can feel. I can already. I have a good sense of what I'm supposed to be doing, but I haven't quite gotten to the point where I could be consistent with it, and so it feels a skill that ends up where I'm supposed to be, and so kind of trying to recreate that time after time is, of course, the focus of tomorrow is trying to seek out the consistency.
For sure.
And that's a problem that plagues me, as a driver in Laguna Seca as well. Is just like, you do the same turn over and over again, and sometimes you end up in a different place, and you're like, why didn't I end up exactly where I was, the last time?
Well,
and it's scary because, well, not necessarily scary, but it's one of those things where it's very easy to, as you approach the limits, get into really bad positions because, again, particularly, because Seika I know so much better, 6 and 10, when you do them right, they work out so well and you can carry so much speed into them, but it's amazing how much faster you can be at one point and then 12 inches to the right of that point or 12 inches to the left of that point for 10, and it's a completely different turn, and now you're way too fast. So I think there's several places in here where that's kind of the same kind of thing, where getting yourself in the right position. I think 3 is actually probably a really good example of that, where 2 feet to the left is a completely different turn 3 from what it is on the inside. Consistency is, I think, I've talked to other people, and I know I've heard the same thing from them. It's like everybody kind of is seeking out consistency. So I know that's a thing.
Well, honestly, that's the difference between when I say the best drivers and, kind of average drivers. The best drivers, they're consistently driving, at the high level. A lot of people, you can do one thing well, but not regularly. It's not like a metronome, but the best drivers, they are driving at the highest level consistently, and so it all adds up, at the end.
I mean, I think that's one of the kind of the amazing things to me, watching Motor Trend and all that stuff, seeing Randy Pope's driving, is how consistent he can be.
at a high level.
Yeah,
you
but
know?
yeah, as a and that's the thing, being a machine is kind of really the goal.
Yeah,
Right?
for
You're
sure.
trying to turn yourself into a machine.
Yeah. A metronome.
Yeah. So that's one of those things that I think always kind of plague me.
Well, like you said, with practice, things become kind of permanent. So, a person wants to make sure to practice the right things.
Yeah. So, 9, keeping that consistent on the exit. 10, staying wide until the turn in. 11, staying focused on 11 because it's so close and you don't have a whole lot of time for victory.
But generally, I feel like you're doing 11 pretty well.
Okay. I feel like a couple of times I stood on the brakes to almost a standstill.
Well,
so
you were definitely kind of working the brakes differently in that last session where sometimes you were overslowing the car.
Yeah.
There's a fatigue factor, at the end of a hot day. So, tomorrow is very much a fresh start, in the sense that you'll have today's experience and you'll be fresh. So that'll be helpful.
Yeah. Appreciate that.
Well, I hope you get a good night's sleep, and tomorrow's another day.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So
well, congratulations. Yeah. And I'll see you. I'll probably be parked there tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'll be looking for you tomorrow.
Yep. And your name is Andrew, right?
Andrew,
I did catch the name right. Okay, I just want to make
Bloch.
sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like square block.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well,
Okay.
thanks very much, Andrew.
Yeah,
I really
my
appreciate
pleasure.
your time and expertise.
Yeah. Well, like I say, you're this is unsolicited, but honestly, when I say you're doing this very well, this is something you have a natural ability and talent at. So if you keep working at it, things are going to continue to come along very nicely.
Yeah, and that's one of those things where it's really easy to start to get full of yourself and thinking how fast you are.
Yeah,
but
but it's
really
all relative.
Right, exactly.
That's kind of the thing. It's completely relative.
I'm fast for somebody who has X seat time in an X car.
Yeah.
And that's one of those things where I really want to know what I want to know that for is to know whether or not I'm on the right path or not. Whether or not there's something else or something missing in my training.
Yeah.
Right. So I appreciate that, kind of as a marker to me, to letting me know,
for sure.
Keep on the path.
Seat time.
Yep.
More time in the seat.
Yeah.